Hi, Stephen Hoffman with Princeton Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine, and welcome to Acupuncture Live. So, where are we? We're more than halfway there. We've got 3 more root causes of 7 of disease. Today, I wanted to talk to you about your stomach. Now, this isn't necessarily a one-to-one correlation with digestion because there's a lot else involved in your digestion, all right? Your small intestine, large intestine, pancreas, gallbladder, there's other organs involved in the digestive process. However, the stomach is really the first stop for the food that you put into your body, and problems with the stomach probably represent most of the other issues that happen with the rest of the digestive system. So we're going to go over the stomach and then we'll go from there, okay? So most of the problems that happen with your digestive system and the stomach are really from low stomach acid, all right? As you get older, your stomach doesn't produce as much stomach acid. Other things happen, okay? Antibiotic use, that more affects the small intestine, processed foods, things that are adulterated, changed from the food that they once were, okay? A lot of those foods have a big impact on our stomach, on the production of stomach acid and our digestion, okay? There's also some minerals that are really, really important to having strong stomach acid, and we don't get really enough of them, okay? Iodine is one of them, vitamin C is another one, zinc is one, and you get into catch-22 with zinc, okay? Because zinc is hard to digest, okay? So you need strong stomach acid to digest zinc, but if you don't have enough zinc, you don't make strong stomach acid. So you get into this loop, and it's hard to get out of that, okay? A lot of times we'll start patients on digestive enzymes to help break things down, and then it makes it easier for you to digest your food. You take a supplement with some of these things in it, and it helps, okay? So what happens when your stomach acid is too low, okay? It's not strong enough, okay? The food that goes into your stomach just kind of sits there, okay? It does not get broken down properly, all right? A lot of times this is part of the cause for acid reflux, right? Because the food's just sitting there kind of rotting, not getting broken down. The other portion of this is that there is a sensor at the bottom of the stomach, and it sends a signal to the sphincter. They call it the cardiac sphincter or the esophageal sphincter, and it sends a signal to that sphincter to close, and that signal is from strong stomach acid. So when the stomach acid becomes strong enough, when the acidity is strong enough, it closes that top sphincter. Now you can imagine if that sphincter does not close, what happens when you eat food, it's not getting broken down and you lay down. Okay, it's going to, hey, P squared, it's going to go up into your esophagus, and it'll actually erode the esophagus and can cause all kinds of problems, okay? So that's one of the problems with weak stomach acid. There is also in the small intestine, there is a sensor in the small intestine that senses the strength of the stomach acid. That sends a signal to the gallbladder to produce bile. And what does the bile do? The bile breaks down fats, all right? So if the stomach acid is not strong enough, it's not producing enough bile, you're not breaking down those fats, you're not getting some of the basic building blocks that you need. What do fats make up in the body? The nervous system, hormones, all right? So a lot of times hormonal imbalances can be a result, it goes all the way back to the stomach, and weak stomach acid. All right, so those are a couple of things that can happen. The other thing that happens if your stomach acid is not strong enough, it does not break things down properly, like I said. So proteins, whole proteins, are not supposed to get into the small intestine. They're supposed to be broken down into amino acids before they get there, All right. Then your body takes these amino acids and it puts them back together into proteins, but it's proteins that your body needs. Okay. So if the proteins aren't being broken down and they get into the small intestine, they can go out from the small intestine into the bloodstream where they're not supposed to be. All right. And this causes an immune response. Okay. Allergies are often a result of the stomach being off, autoimmune disorders, because the immune system is reacting, and then all of a sudden it starts to react to everything. And what's it reacting to? It's reacting to proteins. And what's a lot of your body made of? Proteins, all right? Gluten is simply a protein, okay? If you're sensitive to gluten, odds are good that it's getting down into your small intestine, it's getting into your bloodstream, and that's causing the problem, right? Most people, there's a very, very small percentage of people who really are, quote unquote, allergic to gluten, but there's a lot of people with gluten sensitivity. And what this is that protein, gluten, not breaking down in the stomach, getting into the small intestine, and then getting out into the bloodstream. All right. So these are a couple of things that can happen, and this can have far-reaching consequences, right? So, like I said, hormonal imbalances. This can be fertility. It can be menopause symptoms. It can be menstrual irregularities. Problems with the thyroid, okay? If you're not breaking down the minerals properly and making the hormones properly, it can cause problems with the thyroid. That can cause problems elsewhere in the body. We already talked about the thyroid as a root cause of disease, okay? So there are a ton of things. I mean, our energy comes from the food that we eat, okay? The building blocks of our body comes from the food that we eat. And if we're not breaking it down properly, if we're not absorbing it properly, this can cause an unbelievable amount of consequences to our health, all right? I did a lecture on this and for a bunch of other acupuncturists, and I said, you know, with the way our diets are, all right, with the stress that we're under as a society in general, you could probably not even ask a patient a single question. Have them get up on the table and do acupuncture, do some points for their digestion, and a lot of things would get better. All right. They then have the basic building blocks. They have the right hormones. Fats are being broken down properly. All of these functions are happening. All right. So if you have trouble with your digestion, give us a call. We can set up a consultation and see if we can kind of peel this apart and figure out what the problem is, get to the root of it. Odds are good that there is some digestion issues going on. Probably 95% of my patients, I work on digestion, maybe as at the forefront of it, maybe as something in the background, but we work on it nonetheless because it is a big problem for most of my patients. So like I said, give us a call, set up a consultation, come on in, and I'll let you know what I can do for you. All right, thanks. Have a good afternoon.